Well, hello everyone on this cold and dreary Thursday as we approach St. Patrick's Day. I wanted to talk today about something that's been bothering me. Uh, I wish that I could have better news, but yes, you're on with Grumpy Toxic today because there's a little known phenomenon outside of the YouTuber world. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, the phenomenon whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily in it, even when it is clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. This can apply to a lot of things. This can apply to your relationships. This can apply to a job that's no longer worth it. As we like to say, the juice is not worth the squeeze. It can apply to money making strategies or maybe a car that you've put too much time and effort into. But it can also refer to TV shows that you have been waiting on to return in 2025, also known as the law of diminished returns. Let's get into it.
Riding on the waves of destruction, a toxic presence, a lord of corruption, polluting the ocean, spreading decay, the toxin black, gnawing the vein, searing through the sand.
I got balls of steel.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
About how screwed up we would be if we had survived a plane crash only to end up eating each other.
Oh, I do. The only people that know about this are either us or dead.
The only way to truly be safe is to be the only one left. This is not healthy.
You really are insane.
Secrets will be spilled. Yellow Jackets, new season streaming February 14th on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
Okay, well, let's I guess we'll just jump right into it. Let's talk about Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets is a 2021 TV show on Showtime through Paramount Plus, if you so choose, and it details a group of girls that are soccer phenoms in New Jersey going off to nationals. This happens in the time frame of 1996, maybe the only time frame, but don't worry, we'll get into that. And their plane goes down, and it's sort of a mix of Alive and a couple other genre-bending type shows. The survivors wind up stranded in this unknown forest in an unknown part of Northern America. The pilots are dead. Mostly all the adults are dead, and the only living adult is their junior assistant coach, Coach Ben, who loses a leg and becomes sort of irrelevant, at least in so much as what goes on with these girls and the remaining. They start to lose some of their members, and as they lose some of their primary members, they decide the best course of action is to eat them in a form of cannibalism. This is juxtaposed within the present day drama of some of the survivors, not only survivors of the plane crash, but survivors of what happened in the 18 months or so after the plane crash, in which we start to see the adult version of the teenage versions we saw in 1996 now living out very traumatized lives in 2021 and moving forward to present day. Some of them are trying to live a kind of middling life, Midwestern or, just kind of housewifey regular jobs, and then a couple of them have actually reached to excellence, like the character Ty, who has become or is running to become the New Jersey State Senate. So it's pretty interesting. It's got a lot of mystery box tropes with it, but in the first season it pretty much answers all the questions that it posed. It's only in the second season and now the third that we start to delve way too far into lost territory, into from territory, where there's way too many unanswered questions. Are the girls all just making up this BS that's going on with them? Is there such a thing as like an evil wilderness? Is anything really going on, or are they just crazy? Is there some sort of scientific reason? Like, are they too close to a copper mine? There's just way too many theories and way too much stuff. This is the problem. This is why so many mystery box type TV shows wind up into the sunk cost fallacy and the law of diminishing returns format with TV shows, because the writers who had given you something that was pretty interesting, where you want to talk about it, water cooler talk the next day at work, binge it with your friends and try to figure this stuff out for yourself. What happens is they start writing themselves into corners, or they start writing into circles, and nothing ever gets answered. The first season did an admirable job of answering the questions that they posed, but the second season has not, and I'm not super thrilled with what I've seen so far. I'm not happy, and it's one of the things that's making me really close to giving up on Yellow Jackets now in season 3. Again, most of the things that I'm talking about now, I'm not going to give spoilers. If I feel like there might be spoilerific material coming up, I'll throw the spoiler warning up here for you guys to see, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. But anyway, moving on.
You have any thoughts on dessert?
Mr. Reacher, we're looking into the owner of a rug import business called Bazaar Bazaar.
Let me guess. DEA thinks he's in business with bad people.
You know him?
I thought I killed him years ago.
What did he do to you?
He didn't do anything to me.
Maybe we can help each other out. I have a plan.
Undercover informant? Mr. Reacher, your record is impressive. Bench press proves nothing. Elbow on the pad. Reacher and I fought. Sorry, hand slipped.
Welcome to the team, Reacher.
I'm in.
Tonight's your chance to prove you've earned your keep, Reacher.
Now, I am a big Reacher fan, being an ex-MP myself. I like the books for what they are. They're sort of, one-offs, each one. They do have a little bit of overarching story to them. I liked Alan Richardson. I still like Alan Richardson as the titular Reacher character. He's big and imposing. He's charming. He's funny. Even though, as I've said on other streams, including the one I do with Blue Collar, which will be linked in the description of this video, I feel that the book version of Reacher is very one note. He's very simple type character, and not particularly a likable one. Richardson plays him in such a way he's actually kind of likable. Season 1 did very well. It was very popular. They did a season 2 pretty much immediately. They chose a weird one to adapt for season 2. Season 2 is adapted from one of the later novels, Bad Luck and Trouble, in which there is an ensemble team of Reacher's former special operations unit, military police investigators, helping them solve the murder of other of their compatriots. And that one wasn't as well received. People thought some of the fight scenes were a little janky, and they thought that it took too much of the focus away from Reacher. And I wouldn't exactly argue at that point, although I would point out the fact that the book does exactly that, and it was pretty well adapted from the book. What I take issue with is not which book they choose to adapt and in which order they throw them out, because you could pretty much go to a library or a bookstore and pick up any Reacher book and pick it up, and it's going to give you almost exactly what it is that you're looking for. However, that being said, as we're making it into a sequential timeline TV show, and it does do some clever stuff by making the movie versions kind of happen off the scenes. So I thought that was quite clever, and they've alluded to that. But beyond that, I don't think that this Persuader novel for season 3 of Reacher was a good one to do, because if everybody was bitching about the fact that Reacher was not doing the solo thing and being with a team and stuff, then the very first thing they do is saddle him with a 3-man, well, 1 woman, 2-man, a 3-person DEA team. in order to solve the mystery here. Also, we've got Neely coming back, and Neely, I guess they're priming her for her own side story spin-off show, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with Maria Sten. I don't have the problem with the way that she plays Neely. What I have a problem with is the fact that they're shoehorning her into stories that she was not originally conceptually put in. She was in the book Bad Luck and Trouble, which was adapted in season 2. She was not in either Reacher season 1, adapted from the first novel Killing Floor, and she's not in this novel either. So shoehorning her in, whether you read the books or not, it just doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel genuine. So I don't like it. I don't think it does very well. I have some other issues with the show. And like I said, if you want to get more in-depth coverage of Reacher, I am currently watching it with Blue Collar Loser and Northern English Bastard. And I will link those in the description of this video, so you kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. But it's not one of the things that I enjoy doing, because I do like the show. I like the actor. I like the whole premise, and I love a series of books that I readily enjoyed being pretty faithfully adapted. That being said, again, sunk cost fallacy pops in there, and it's one of those things where I can't just consume next product and just be completely okay with everything that happens, just due to the fact that hey, this is a book that I like, and I'm going to be okay with whatever slop they give me. I just can't do that. I need it to be, if you're not going to be 100% faithful, that's fine. But if you're going to be changing the material, don't be changing it just to fit some kind of a narrative so that you can come up with a reason to have a spinoff show for somebody else. That just doesn't work for me. So let me get to the last one that I'm fussing about. A lot of people are probably going to think that I'm going to talk about Daredevil. Nope. I'm going to talk about a show that has no business being this good, and this premise being so well, considering the fact that we ultimately in the timeline know what is going to happen to the main characters that are going to be bequeathed this property. I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. It's the Dutton Ranch, and the season is season 2 of 1923, a prequel story of Yellowstone. The first season was very good, but as we are a couple episodes into season 2 of 1923, which I guess they're still calling 1923 for whatever reason, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I don't know.
Really?
It's one of those things where I think they probably could have done something better with the narrative, and I don't have a huge issue with it. It tells the tale of, I would guess, the great-great-grandfather of Kevin Costner's character, John Dutton, and what they went through to try to keep hold of the ranch that their predecessors built and maintained from the show 1883 and the events that happened there. They have land grabs going on. They have, different racist factions coming after some of their people for race mixing, kind of shoehorning a lot of ideas in there that don't really belong. They've got one of the brothers gets killed in the very first season, and then the other brother, Spencer, who is a war hero who's off hunting down lions and whatnot in Africa, he has gotten engaged and then later married to a kind of British elite who was supposed to, I guess, marry the dual the Duke of Sussex, and that winds up not happening, and it causes them all kinds of trouble. What follows after that is basically him trying to get back to the ranch, because he's received letters that they are under siege, and the ranch is in peril. The first season is pretty good. I don't have any kind of issue with it, and even though we saw the disaster that was the Yellowstone finale, which completely did a Game of Thrones and shit the bed with the ending of how they did it, I do believe that this show is quality, and I like the things that they do with it. So I'm not unhappy with it, in any stretch of the imagination. What I am unhappy with is presently they've got, I don't know what's happening with the writers. I don't know what's going on with the narrative. It's still visually stunning and it's still engrossing, but as far as the plot, they have characters saying and doing things that the characters that you saw from season 1 would have never said and did, including Spencer, who goes from an extremely intelligent and extremely efficient killing machine who has one-minded purpose to get home to his family and help and take care of them. Now he's become this kind of, wayward goofball, just bouncing from place to place, making horrible decisions and completely assassinating his character. They've even got the people at the ranch doing things that people at the ranch would never do.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
What's his name?
Spencer. He's a war hero. The Stone Killer.
Today, we begin making Montana a playground for the elite. I'll destroy everything they fought for.
I'm trying to prevent a war here.
It ain't preventable.
He wants to take this place from us.
You're 30 miles from anything. Where are you headed?
Montana. Family needs me.
This is a hard winter. I pray Spencer can get here.
Time to build that army you promised me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with anything that the overarching plot has developed. What I have a problem with is the day-to-day plot in which we have characters saying and doing things that it's already established the characters would not say or do. I mean, it's only a couple of episodes in, so I'm trying to stay as positive as I can about the situation. But if this turns into a thing where it takes Spencer the entire season in order to get back to his family, and then we get pushed into season 3, I'm not going to be happy. And I won't lie, I'm trying to just judge it on its own merit. But as you realize that it's a prequel for the Yellowstone, what you start to discover is that a lot of the things that happen, it's hard to get completely invested in them, because all of the struggles and all the turmoil, all of the sacrifices, all of the killing, all of the dying, all of the things that this Dutton family has done is ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because at the end of the day, they're just going to wind up giving up the ranch anyway in present day timeline. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And that's one of those things that, if you can't really come to terms with it, it's not going to make you, want to be invested in the current story. I think this season's really going to suffer, and I hope, and not for nothing, but it's also a bit of a shadow in real life. Coles Brings Plenty, who plays one of the main characters on the show, passed away recently here in Lawrence, Kansas, under suspicious circumstances. And it's just one of those things that, I don't think bodes well. It's almost like a bad omen for the show. And I fear that Taylor Sheridan may decide that he wants to get onto other projects so much that he just wants to hurry up and rush this and wrap this up as quick as possible. I have a bad feeling that by the end of this, people are going to be as dry fucked as they were with what happened with the events of Yellowstone at the end of that, because that seemed very rushed and did a lot of the main characters a huge injustice. But that's it. That's where I come out on these things. Am I being a grumpy Gus and not enjoying things for what they are? Probably. But as we've talked about before, when you do YouTube, one of the things that happens is it sort of changes your outlook on how you see things. Again, I have high hopes for Daredevil. That's a returning show. They're in their Daredevil Reborn, which is really just Daredevil season 4 under a different name. I'm pretty happy with that so far. But again, that's only 2 episodes into it. It's really, at the end of the day, it's hard to justify, getting back into a show that's been absent for so long. Or it's hard to get back into a show that, does the things that the characters that you've come to know and love. It's doing things that are not, consistent with what their characters would have done before. When the writing doesn't really match, what it is, it kind of breaks your heart a little bit. It makes you start to think, what am I even watching this for? What is even the point of any of this kind of thing? So, at the end of the day, I guess what time will tell, and we'll have to wait and see. But, thanks for joining me for this, and leave me a note in the comments of a returning show that you kind of thought has maybe fallen off the rails and is suffering under that law of diminishing returns. And if you believe the sunk cost fallacy really is a thing, spoiler alert, it is a thing. I know so because I Googled it. Anyway, that's it for now. And until hopefully next time I do a video, it's talking about something that's going really good. Like I said, the link to some of the other videos I talked about will be in the description. And until next time, stay toxic.
Riding on the wings of destruction, a toxic presence, a lord of corruption, pollute the ocean, spreading in decay, the toxic black, gnawing the vein, searing through the sand.
I've got balls of steel.